extra freedom to do so, and the Elise is still going to be banned away here from BBQ. No swaps coming through on either side. I guess unsurprising to see that Spirit will be sticking through, but for my own sake, I hope that the Olaf is not going to be the answer.
Let's look at the BBQ bans this time, because they will adapt and ban away Elise. The 3 bans in Game 1 when BBQ was last on the red side was Zac, Elise, and Rumble. So they seem like they're going to be more willing to leave up the Rumble unless Afrika ban away Zac. Are they feeling like, okay, well, they're playing with fire, they're saying, give us Zac or Rumble, and will BBQ give them the Zac? The answer is definitely no. Why would you do that? That'd be silly. You just beat Marin's Rumble. Will Marin feel like going for it again?
Yeah, that would be, leaving up the Zac would be about as stupid as flashing in for Electro Harpoon.
Well, that was Afrika, so I guess BBQ can't be leveled with that sort of criticism.
All right, well, Lee Sin, something a bit more proactive here, a bit more aggressive for Spirit. Not going to be revisiting the Kha'Zix like we saw from Game 1, but just as good. And Varus will be picked up for Ghost.
Notable champions that are not on the ban list because of the texture of the series so far. Nidalee, Jarvan, both available. Lee Sin available to be picked. Then the Rumble for Marin. So a lot has changed over the course of these 3 games.
I mean, how saucy are you feeling, Crazy? Do you go for the Rumble yourself?
We've seen Crazy play Rumble before. It wasn't fantastic.
I mean, it'd be very dangerous, especially with Kennen still on the board, for Marin to pick up. So maybe they just let Marin take it and then maybe take the Kennen themselves?
I wonder how Afrika feel about the Gragas in this spot, given that Gragas was taken at first pick in Game 1. Bless going on to an Old Faithful. Feels like Rek'Sai and Kha'Zix were big picks for him in his career so far in the LCK. Marin's still smiling. Apparently he's still feeling the Rumble. He'll take it.
It's like a manic smile. He's losing his mind.
I mean, we already saw the proof in the pudding of the replay clip there.
Yeah, so he's just out of it.
But we're seeing some simple stuff here. I mean, Kramer's had some good Ashe games this season. Spirit finally gets the Lee Sin that so far has been denied from him this season. This series, sorry. Season and series blended for a moment there. So could potentially just take a top laner here if you're BBQ.
Seems like they want to go ahead and maybe lock down that bottom lane and use the bans to pinch out Tusin's support pool, perhaps.
And they decide they're going to stay with Hook City by taking the Thresh. If you're going to take Thresh here, Tahm Kench is probably a pretty standard ban, even if Tusin isn't a top-tier Tahm Kench player, like Core JJ was earlier, and Gorilla and Wolf have been famously over their careers. But that would be an obvious pick here for both teams, actually, given what's been selected.
Or maybe this is where Tusin just keeps going crazy. You mentioned the Tahm Kench, it will be banned away. Tusin's just like, let me play the Aurelia. It's time.
You never know, Kilios. We had a support Nunu. So I'm all out of predictions here about Tusin's support pool. Why would he go something like Zyra? That'd be crazy.
I don't know. Standard? What? Well, J4 banned away by Afrika.
That does mean the ban does come through like Game 1, but it's actually from the side of Afrika in the second round rather than the first round. Probably not something that Marin has been prioritizing. Karma ban, that has been Tusin's meta support so far this season. Even if it's not fantastic into the Thresh in lane, does outscale in team fights usually, just because shields are so damn reliable.
Lulu's been one of the other ones for him in the past, but to the Thresh, not great.
What about his Malzahar?
Please no.
I would prefer that over the Nunu.
That's true, but the 80 MS Malzahar plays. He tightened him up since that happened, but Kennen will be the final ban, so trying to give it an advantageous matchup over to Marin with that Rumble in the top lane.
Gragas would be pretty good here on the side of BBQ and pretty reliable as well. Looks like they are going to consider that suggestion from me. Thanks, BBQ. Now I look good. Prophet Papa in duty. Oh, no, they're going to change.
Oh, dear.
Prophet Papa denied.
Oh, you got shut down.
I did. The victory dance was too early, Achilles.
Yeah, just a bit. So Sejuani going to be picked up for the top lane.
Into the Rumble. It's not a matchup we've seen before. Understandable that Spectre's Cow will probably have to come out pretty early, but don't have a lot of data points about the Sejuani versus Rumble matchup. You'd imagine she's going to eat a lot of free damage and be hurting for it. Pick comp in full display there, and no Tom Kench to deny it. So the best they can get to is the Braum. Very necessary when you already have 3 initiation line abilities on the side of BBQ.
Yeah, I mean, also just getting rid of the wave clear from Ghost and the harass. So piercing arrow.
What is Kuro going to blind pick? Why do I even ask? It was so obvious. It's going to be the Galio again. So he got 1,000 kills, and he's like, all right, I'm shutting up shop. No more kills.
Yeah, he's done killing people.
And lock in on Azir. Okay, here we go. Tempt is going to an old favorite. Azir has always been a pick that has dogged Kuro.
I like the music change with that. Like as soon as
drop the beat, baby.
As soon as Azir comes in, the music just gets amped up.
Azir we have not seen in a long time, and has always been, as we say, the Achilles heel of Kuro. Sub 30% win rate on Azir, and whenever he played it, he ended up getting dunked by things like Master Yi from Faker. So Azir is a very interesting one. Does mean that Varus has such a big amount of space to play around between 3 initiation CCs, and theoretically Azir and Varus in the backline free hitting the closest target, doing big damage.
Alright, well, interesting shakeups here. BBQ Olivers trying quite a lot of different picks with that Sejuani in the top lane. And the Azir in mid for Tempt. Gonna have to put on one hell of a performance. I mean, you think early can really poke down that Galio, but as those tanky items start coming through, it's gonna be a bit more difficult to chunk through that HP.
It's a pick through a team comp. Basically, the thought has always been Achilles. Well, Galio's not gonna kill you, so you can play whatever you want, and whatever you want this time represents the Azir.
All right, well, pressure on game 3. Winner take all. BBQ Olivers desperately needing this victory to try to climb their way up the standings, avoid that relegation zone. To start off this split, let's go ahead, jump onto Summoner's Rift for our final game of the night. See who's going to close this one out, a Freak of Freaks or BBQ Olivers. Fans hanging in there after 10 p.m. now on a Thursday evening here in Korea.
And this may actually be our first Godfist in LCK. We're sitting at MSI, but I can't remember a Korean game that had Godfist in it. I could be wrong, but just first impression.
Well, if anybody should have used it, would have been Peanut.
It's true. But Peanut doesn't get to play Lee Sin Achilles.
We'll see how much Peanut gets to play after everything that happened yesterday.
There's something amazing about Blank sitting on the bench, undefeated for the year. He could end the year undefeated Achilles.
Yeah. He's the hero they need. And they probably deserve it as well, given their track record.
It's also like the kind of reverse of Easyhoon, who had same sort of plaudits, but was often played in the easier matches, whereas Blank is just thrown in the deep end every time. Hey, you haven't played in 3.5 months? Hey, I haven't got a time for you.
Yeah,
Backs against the wall.
Didn't use you at MSI? Okay, here you go.
3 months and 2 weeks, and Blank comes in, 1 match down against Longzhu and wins double MVP. That's about as clutch as can be from a player that was so heavily criticized in previous seasons. This could be a super leash for Spirit. If you get a leash like this, lets you know, Achilles, that the plan here is for Spirit to start messing up some falls.
Yeah, definitely going to be the look that they're going for here.
This is, again, this is an insane leash because they're giving up bot lane to do this. They give up the push war. They will have no control over the wave. As you can see, they lost 3 creeps to make this happen. So that's bad.
Yeah, going to be a bit of a rough spot, but they're just fully investing in Spirit. He was the catalyst for success very early on in game number 1. Backed up by Kuro on that Syndra. So see if he can do it again this time over onto the Lee Sin. Just going red straight over to blue. see where he's going to try to impact the map first and foremost. Could be the top lane, perhaps, since the Azir are going to be a bit too slippery for him to get on top of.
Yeah, and while, of course, they did not lose any actual creep kills in the bot lane, it was more about the experience drop and the 3 creeps going first over the side of BBQ meant that the next wave that came in would guarantee level 2 advantage for the side of BBQ. So while in terms of stats it doesn't mean anything, in terms of pressure and how bot lane is that arms race for level 2, it is a big advantage to BBQ Ultras.
Well, we were curious as to how this matchup was going to go in the top lane. Now things are going to be pretty even here. It's crazy, just gets shoved back in underneath that turret. Heavy leash spirit still roaming through, a little over halfway on that red buff.
What will Spirit make use of? Already level 4. He's in coverage mode in bot lane for now.
Totoro could be looking for the hook, does come out. Shield comes up here from Susan, trying to mitigate the damage. The playback comes through. That's going to be a TP out by Marin, actually. Let's try to turn this one around. Flame Spitter coming through, but it's going to be the Dark Passage. And Freak of Freak's not going to find anything for that play.
Big investment. Marin did have the wave pushed up, so will not lose as many creeps as possibly could have happened. Not going to be a great back timer for him, though. He's going to back away now.
Yeah, just 18 CS.
A lot of extra resources have been called in already this game. The extra leash coming through from a Freak of Freaks to get Spirit started, and now the teleport being called in early. Hard to say if that's being proactive or that's just trying to really ignite a game early after what was a very long, drawn-out, longest game of the season in Game 2.
I mean, but you would have thought that given that very aggressive leash on the red buff, perhaps they were looking for a level 2 or even a level 3 gank from Spirit onto one of the lanes, but instead just continued on his merry old way through the jungle.
Power farm to 6 has been the meta for Lee Sin in the past, but I definitely predicted that it would be maybe a contest on the enemy. They didn't have full information about Kha'Zix's path, so regardless, drawing a lot of resource from the bot lane, but for now at least not being able to put it to massive use. Interesting. They're still very finely poised. Teleport, as you can see when it comes to CS, not being punished. Only still ahead in CS. All the minions go down the way they should. It will be equal, but the cost was not massive. Anyway, for Marin to visit bot lane.
Yeah. As long as Crazy can't find something with his TP in the meantime, that's when BBQ could definitely find some ground to stand on in this third game.
And what of the Azir? The champion we were surprised to see in Champion Select. Theory being, like we mentioned right at the tail end of that you get a pretty free lane for any champion against the Galio. So kind of like when Morgana mid was a thing, you could fit in a lot of carries because you weren't really afraid of solo kill pressure. Galio might be even lower on the kill pressure, especially without an assist from the jungle. So I feel like they can get away with the Azir. Late game damage is still going to be there from the Azir as
Marin goes low, bless.
Double turret shot taken by Marin. Spirit's top lane though.
Yeah, rotating his way up here. Crazy goes low. Spirit not going to be able to find it. Equalizer comes down. He'll go dangerously low, but they still just can't find that kill.
Yeah, Spirit didn't want to invest in something very opportunistic like the flash into ward jump and already had his W on cooldown from Wing to Marin, so thinks better of it.
But he's just going to have a nice little recall party up here in the top lane. Final minion stopped off, being taken. Crazy TP's back into the lane. So Dark Seal for him as well, just to get that amplified healing off the Corrupting Potion. And then a Ruby Crystal, which very likely could be going into a Spectre's Cowl.
Seen some differing builds and lack of agreement on the Sejuani. ADD, who's played the most, 4 times, was loving the Righteous Glory Rush. Theory there being that with the passive, you get free resists for at least the initial parts of a team fight. So this guaranteeing initiation with the movement speed and health was the way to go forward. You'd obviously go for a more standard build if Sunfire hadn't been so toned down. It would be a very large one-item power spike for the Sejuani, but with its current stats, still an option, but doesn't kind of define the meta like Sunfire did for the best part of 2 years.
Definitely fell off. Changes coming through, affecting it pretty heavily.
I mean, there's falling off and there's being thrown off. It was thrown off.
Spirit rotating down towards this bottom side of the map is spotted out. The Scuttle Crab is being taken by BBQ, so they'll have that forward vision in front of the Dragon Pit. Spirit could find his way over the backside of the wall. Instead, he's going to find Bless. Throws out that Q just in time to be able to dash over to the side. Sonic Wave does take him out to safety. A lot of pressure being applied around this bottom side of the map right now by both teams.
You track back to what was made of the early leashing, and very little in any regard. Teleport not punished when Marin came down bot, now back available. Kramer and Tusa doing this very competitively in terms of CS, so Thresh is always not going to be a harassed lane, much more just strong in lane. Going a melee support like Braum isn't going to be punished by Thresh, so we will get largely late game builds and equal builds on both support and AD carries alike. But if other things are being equal, I have to look at the Azir as the one trump card. Oh, the Ash Arrow flies in.
Yeah, just a couple seconds too late there to try to get a lockdown in on the Bless. It led to a massive combo for Spirit to come up with that kill, but instead, he's going to be healing back out of the jungle, likely handing over a blue buff to Koro, so he can spam out more and more whirlwinds.
Spam is real on both sides. Azir with his Q also, as he gets cooldown reduction, will function very much the same way. And we thought we'd get action Achilles. We thought maybe there'd be some super forces in a 20-minute game, but it's not coming.
Yeah, baited by the leash.
Outsmarted by Afrika.
That's that feels really bad. It's like impressively.
Yeah, don't think
awful.
about it too much.
Well, Spirit trying to roll up towards this top side. Mar will clear out the minions so he can safely push into the brush, where he's going to recall immediately.
Actually, going to have to really think about how Azir's soldiers interact with Adaptive Helm, given that I believe they are applied as spells, because of course Rylai's is applied, so you theoretically take less damage from soldiers.
Yeah, since they're a source of damage, I guess.
There's an interaction I haven't thought I'd have to think of.
Interesting. I assume that it would be mitigated.
I would imagine so as well.
Somebody should just Vandal. I need you to compile a list of how every spell interacts with Adaptive Helm.
Well, I mean, given how popular Adaptive Helm has been in Korea, maybe in spite of the fact that Spirit Visage was raised in power rather than lowered, it could be useful for us at least.
Yeah. I do not expect you to actually go through every spell, by the way, if you're watching. But I would love you if you did.
We just need full information on how every spell and every interaction works in League of Legends.
I just don't want to be the one that leads him to insanity after making that video.
I just feel like we need our Bible, you know, our opus, to be able to look at and get every interaction when available. Where can I cross-reference, Achilles?
Maybe they should just start including that in the patch notes.
Those would be really long patch notes.
They just get like an actual drop-down menu or a side link that just goes straight to.
But then, like a new fan or a new player misclicks and there's thousands of interactions all over his screen, gets scared, doesn't play the game. These are things that could happen.
Get that new bad here. That's kind of how I felt when I played the original Dota.
Really?
Not because of like patch notes or anything, just because of like everything that was going on and simultaneously being yelled at by people.
I mean, that was a different time where you were downloading the map from users. Usually you wouldn't see patch notes compared to League of Legends, where patch notes are a lot more identified, so understandable. I remember when new heroes were released in that game, you really didn't know what they did.
You had to try them out.
You did.
And then you did, and then you would lose, and then everybody in that game would yell at you and tell you they were terrible. In much meaner terms.
Les here looking to contest.
He's going to jump over the wall here, straight in onto the Dragon's Rage, just finishes him off. Spirit coming up with the first blood, and they'll follow up with the Rift Herald to boot.
That was smooth from the side of the Afrika Freaks. Shouldn't be surprised that Marin will be picking up the Rift Herald. I think Afrika are one of the few teams that have given their Rift Herald to the top laner.
Yeah, dismine is what he says. Walks back up top.
Needs to be respectful. Crazy's burst range not massive, but there is the health bar from Marin. Spirit will continue to provide coverage in the top lane.
It's Crazy, yeah. Chucking him down pretty considerably. We'll get the freeze in. Big burst of damage comes down, and he'll just get soloed out.
Yeah, Spirit was further away than he expected. I don't think Crazy has the damage without the ultimate. No cooldown reduction on the Q yet at this point either. Marin, his Rumble has abandoned him, it feels like, judging by his last interaction in Game 2. And now being solo killed by a Sejuani. That's right, you heard that. It was official, it really happened. And now BBQ, they want to really up the pain with an Infernal.
Yeah, they say, screw it, you go ahead, you take away that Rift Herald, we'll just get the Infernal Drake, which will last us a lot longer.
BBQ fans are in full voice. They've seen an opening, and it's Rumble getting solo killed by a Sejuani. Now, of course, the Rift Herald will not be interacted with there. It's not like a Baron buff, so we'll be able to set it down in the bot lane, and Sejuani not with the most wave clear, so I imagine the next time Lee Sin makes a merry visit top lane, or maybe even Galio makes a guest appearance, we might see Rift Herald used.
I mean, honestly, he's got so much wave clear, he could just push and drop it. It'll take a while for Crazy to clear it out.
It's always best when you have a friend, though, with the Rift Herald. If he could draw out a teleport, that would be the gold standard, because then he could maybe get 2 turrets,
yeah.
But that may be hoping for too much. It's in so far in the mid lane. Rift Herald about 50%. It was 60% when we saw it, and we've been away for a couple of seconds. So it's about a minute and a half to think about it.
We'll have to pull the trigger on something. And especially if they don't get a turret out of this, losing the Infernal Drake off the backside would be pretty damning for the Afrika Freaks.
It's unnecessary as well. I mean, Marin could have backed off. There was no need for him to be in lane. He could have altered the minion wave and left, but thought he knew his limits better than he did. Of any champion for him to do that, Rumble will be the one, but this series not been kind to him. Yeah. Wonder how this will affect future games, because if Afrika lose this game, then maybe more teams will be a bit more frisky with leaving the Rumble open against Afrika. He's had a respect ban in basically all his other games this season.
It's a long con. He's just, you know, sandbagging, losing a couple games.
Really, the long con of a team getting 2 perfect games and being 1-3 in match score. That's what's going to happen if they lose.
Well, I'm not saying it's a smart idea.
Here's that friend we spoke of. Bless still has Smite available.
Yeah, he's in the vicinity, but you can see Kuro starting to cheat his way up. We'll find Temp, tries to cut him off. But they're running out of time to use this trinket. So it looks like Marin going to be rotating down. It's about 75% of the way done with.
So we're already taking mid lane. Could just spot it here. He will.
All right, goes ahead, spawns it up.
So they've rotated in bot lane first. Varus is going to be way second. They're going to, at minimum, get a decent burst here in the mid lane.
It'd be hilarious if it started walking back up to the top lane.
They should probably fire an Ash arrow soon to even dissuade any sort of defense.
Oh, let's do the hook coming out. Totoro not going to find it. Equalizer cutting him off, keeping him contained underneath the turret. Blade comes through. Multiple members locked up in here. Pop-up comes through on the Bless. Gonna have to flash away to try to keep himself alive. Rift Herald goes down, as does the turret. So first brick picked up for Afrika. They won't be able to get much else on the backside of that. A couple summoner spells here or there.
Really tricky. That play evolved a couple of times. Lee Sin top, so you thought, okay, it's going to be used in the top lane. But they roam mid just as bot lane comes up. Nice synergy and communication between the 3 players involved. They're able to take the mid lane turret, and this is Azir, who was under no pressure at all from the Galio, and who, if you think back to the 2015 spring meta, we had Azir versus Xerath mid lanes that went 35 minutes with no outer turrets being taken down. So taking down Azir's turret is not a trivial objective. And it does mean that Azir, much like Cassiopeia and a lot of these other control mids, will now be forced to farm much more defensively or risk being overextended against a Lee Sin.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Spirit pushing his way through. They're going to look to slow up Crazy, land the first Electro Harpoon, but he'll dash away. Don't get the flash, but should be another outer turret going down in favor of Afrika. Trying to snowball off of that mid push, build up some gold for the team.
Yeah, Kha'Zix's kind of been in no man's land. He was near top if the Rift Herald was used top, out of position in mid lane, now out of position in top, was only transitioning to the top side of the map. Good read there from Afrika, who didn't have the full information because it didn't have ward coverage of the red side jungle of BBQ, but Bless needed to be in position for the counter gank, or at least pressure. Didn't appear, and thus 2 turrets very quickly go down for BBQ.
Good moves. Something that was severely lacking from Afrika Freaks there in game number 2. So back on pace. We're in game 3 where it really counts. Minute 30 seconds on that next Dragon and Mountain Drake coming up. We'll close out these final outer turret rather.
Kuro can get very advanced on the map, pushing in waves, and the pressure that adds to bot lane and top lane grows. Every time Galio gets first roam after getting first turret, it's usually the side lanes that are the penalties. So keeping control wards, if they can get double control ward on their blue buff and also the bottom quadrant, that's so important for BBQ, because otherwise they don't have control. There's also a Lee Sin in bot lane, and a lot of people come in, they take another turret, they get a couple of kills with it, and the game will open up for a Freak of Freaks.
Pretty soon, I mean, I say pretty soon, but right about now, he can push about wherever he wants, Kuro. Has that Adaptive Helm and the Gargoyle Stoneplate completed.
And he is now unkillable. He has Gargoyle Stoneplate, as you say, an Adaptive Helm against an Azir, so...
Maybe if Ghost was able to fire at him freely for like 30 seconds?
That's, 30 seconds of hopefully something happening with the other 4 members of the Freak of Freaks, but this play around the bot side, heavily expected. Not quite as telegraphed. While Galio had left lane, he was not actually cheating towards the bot side, so this is what Tempt has to do. All he can do is kind of push the minions to the middle of what used to be mid lane when the turret was still up, and leave and hope that he's in position.
Taking the stun grab right now. Yeah, Ashar comes down.
Tempt is still down.
Can they get on top of him? The answer is going to be yes. Taunt layered in there for good measure. They'll take him out.
And Cleanse only now is about to come up. The window was so small for a Freak of Freaks, but Kramer continues his trend of hitting these Ash arrows. We called him Prey-esque in one of his earlier series. And continues to snowball the pressure around mid. And we talked about if Galio gets ahead, it's basically an extra summoner spell like we thought of Watch with Mark Noon in much earlier seasons of the LCK. Faster than a Twisted Fate when it comes to allowing you to make aggressive plays around the map. And the map is suddenly very scary for any of these side lanes, and the Drake is looking indefensible for BBQ.
Yeah, I don't think there's really anything that they could do outside of a Hail Mary seal from a Void Spike from Bless, but even then, he's got to walk up towards Kuro and Deucin. Justice Punch would lock him down long enough for that kill to come out, because Spirit has plenty of damage at the moment. So they will just go ahead and pick up their first Dragon Mountain over to them. A second one on the way as the third Drake will be spawning in 6 minutes' time.
And hasn't had to go to an emergency build, so even though he will facepalm from his earlier death, he does have the Leandries very early. The play we talked about around the bot lane is being executed now.
Yep, just trying to take down this final outer turret. Mountain Drake already being utilized here from the side of Afrika. Block will come through as Deucin throws up the shield. Double TP, going to be matched by Marn as they get ready to pile in. Glacial Fissure thrown out. Deucin will be able to leap away using Stand Behind Me. Get himself out to safety. Kuro arriving off his own TP. Will dash away. Seems like he can make it out safely.
Gargoyle Stoneplate still available. The Adaptive Helm working so well against the Azir, and particularly in the Sejuani to a lesser degree. Kuro could just stay here and wave clear.
Try to defend this one out. Hook not going to land. Just finds the minion.
Marin cancels his teleport, so he can't be bot lane. That's why BBQ will continue. They want to finally answer one of these 3 outer turrets that have already gone down. They want to get on the board. It's a full health turret, but won't be for long.
Yeah, the wave clear here from Kuro, because of this more defensive build, is not going to be as strong as necessary to defend that turret, so BBQ will be able to put one on the board for themselves. But what did Kramer? Did they just try to duo this out? The answer's going to be yes. The rest of the team is coming up, and there's no vision inside the pit, and everybody's so far away, still in the lower half of the river.
One red ping from BBQ. They finally know, but it's so quick with the Mountain Drake especially. Here's the heroic entrance.
Yeah, heroic entrance comes through. Ash Arrow thrown out. Catches Bless, I believe, to slow him up, and that's going to be the Baron going down over to a Freak of Freaks at 21.5 minutes. Glacial Prison comes out, finds the hook in onto Kuro. Spirit goes low, flashes away, but Ghost has a final auto attack to take him out. Taunt comes through from Kuro. Can they turn this around? Martin now flashing forward. Massive Slave Spitter takes out Tempt. They'll take out Ghost. Double kill over to the Rumble. Looking for more. Bless gonna be burned to death. Triple kill for Marin. And this game just got shattered wide open by a Freak of Freaks.
Insane play by Kuro. A 5-man taunt on the whole team. Max duration as well. Equalizer on top of it. Marin finally can flash in. They're going to get so many objectives from this. They thought they could investment bank with the Azir, but taking those turrets and Marin even putting the Rift Herald mid against all expectations, the game has gone insane in 7 minutes.
I mean, this is looking much closer to what we saw in game number 1.
Decision making around Baron helped them in game 1, secures it in
look
game
at
2.
that.
They got blessed with the Ash Arrow. Kramer will say it was on purpose, and if it was, brilliant. But you're like, okay, BBQ, like, well, we need to continue the game. We need to make it happen now. But look at this. 5-man Taunt Insanity into the equalizer. You could not ask for more. Kramer, Marin realize it's go time. We've got this fight, we can turn it around. They pick up the kills, they shatter the base, and they shatter the hearts of BBQ.
I mean, the Wombo combo that was not being delivered in game number 2 just shows up right into the doorstep of Freaka Freaks here in game 3 by the hand of Totoro, hooking Kuro in, bringing him back towards the team off the backside of that glacial prison. And that is just all kinds of terrible for BBQ, as they will continue to lose out on objectives. Massive wave here in the bottom lane. They have decent wave clear, but still, pressure on all sides as Marin even has the top lane moving up.
They just can't make anything happen. Achilles, Sejuani needs to be top, reacting, not going to be there to engage. Minion wave's been put in top, mid, bot lane. Full court press from Freaka Freaks with Baron buff. And BBQ, they haven't hit their items yet. 2 items on the Azir, not ready to team fight, not against Escalio. All the waves in great spots. Wave clear decent. I mean, we're talking about Azir Varus, but still, probably not going to be enough. And Bus isn't going to be jumping in, let's be real.
Yeah. Mid lane being pressured as they rotate over. Marin here to join in with Spirit as they try to get on top of this first inhib turret. Clear up the waves, and the equalizer is available yet again, as is that enchanted crystalline arrow.
2 inner turrets, only things that are left. Knocking on the inhibitor turrets as well. Freaka Freaks have great item timings. Want to continue, but so far BBQ have been dogged. It's trying to slow down the game.
Kramer. Does he see the ward?
He's not interested in wards. He wants to kill minions.
He's really not. Okay. Okay. For my sanity, he will clear that out.
Baron buff still has about another 20 seconds, so they'll walk
duration here. Hook comes through. They do land in onto Kramer. Shield comes down, blocking so much of this damage out from Ghost. And corruption hits. Glacial Fisher comes through and Spirit over the wall. Just offering up a little bit of shielding. The Ash Arrow will go wide, not connecting in onto the Varus.
Kramer thought that there would be a response there from the Braum. There wasn't until it was too late, so Kramer was forced to use his heal. Will slow down the push and probably time out the Barons. That was very important from BBQ, stopping the gold from just making it 10,000 almost instantly in what was a line ball game just a moment ago.
Kuro almost finishes off the turret, but can't quite get there. Did a little bit of damage back to the equalizer thrown down. Hook out from Totoro, trying to find Marin on the sidelines. Won't be able to get him.
Pretty low value equalizer. It's down, so BBQ can finally walk up.
Yeah, didn't really use it with the wave, so the minions were able to get taken out after BBQ had already kited back. So seems like those final 2 outer turrets will be eluding them for the moment. But Freaka still in such a strong spot.
Item timings, when it comes to damage, aren't quite there. 2 items onto Kramer. Working on another Zeal item, probably going to be the rapid fire cannon. Could be the Shiv, I guess. And then Void Staff being worked on from Marin. Magic Resist stacking already well and truly happening on the side of BBQ.
Speaking of stacking, second Mountain Drake now available. Should Freaka Freaks be able to pick that one up. Already saw how quickly they were able to take that initial Baron. This will help them break those final outer turrets. Inner turrets. I keep saying outer turrets because they're outside of the base.
They feel like outer turrets when it comes to being indefensible for BBQ. So far they've been pretty good at them, but waves have been so advanced in 3 lanes at the same time that it feels like only a matter of time till BBQ is split and these final inner turrets taken down.
7,000 gold lead here, 26 minutes. Not the most dominating that we've seen, but still damn good.
This happened so fast.
Yeah.
The flame ignited with that 5-man taunt and also the Baron going down. So good moves from Freaka Freaks to get them back in this game rather than big mistakes from BBQ. Assertive around Baron and then with a really big taunt. And the texture of the game changed. Not all done. It's not inked yet. They haven't broken the base. Azir is starting to put together gold. There isn't an air of inevitability about this game, but Freaka do have complete control.
I assume that it was likely Marin making the call for the Baron. But if not, whoever did it, hope they get MVP.
And when he was asked after they beat SKT in the first round robin of spring season, he said he was the man who made the late game calls. So, as you say, first instinct is that it was he, and if he's to win an MVP, which looking unlikely at this point, may get the question asked again.
what do you do if you're BBQ? Get prepped for this next Baron, I suppose. 45 seconds until we see that come back up.
That awkward color point of lose the minimum because they need Azir to pile on items. They need to keep their turrets up as long as possible. It is Tucson, though.
Yeah, he's going to get hooked, takes a bit of damage. Hero's entrance comes through. Squirrel arrives in the fight. Justice punches way to safety. And TP was used by Crazy, so they beat that out.
And Spirit happy to just park himself in mid lane, continue to push up those minions. So much pressure. And what this pressure means is that Afrika knows there just can't be vision on Baron. They've never gotten anywhere near putting down vision in Baron. There's a single couple of spot vision that was put down, but Baron's spawning in 5 seconds, and only now you can see BBQ inching towards it, trying to defend what they have.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much because those final 2 inner turrets did fall. Les taking a little ride over the wall, making sure that he is safe.
Will it be a game of 2 Barons for Afrika? The first one finally divided the 2 teams. The second one might actually be able to guarantee things. BBQ are finally able now to push up near the Baron, but Afrika cannot be face-checked with their power level right now, and thus the vision will only be temporary.
BBQ, if they could come up with a steal, could be enough to potentially swing themselves into this game. But even then, it would have to take many a structure off the backside of that Baron buff.
Sejuani's going to face-check here.
Yeah, walking in, Kuro has the taunt ready to go. Will draw him in, but it's pretty tanky, that Sejuani. Don't get the blue buff, however, so got what they came for.
Mana regen for Kuro, but he's backing anyway, so not going to be massive here, apart from a little bit of cooldown reduction. Azir close to death cap, but with no kill involvement barring 1 assist. It's been slow rolling, only the CS so far. But what is an expensive build to be relevant for an Azir. Rylai is curbed from impact unless it's a rush item after the latest round of nerfs. Might be seen as a 6th item, depending on where the game's at.
Yep, and Kuro's just getting beefier. Another Warden's Mail coming through for him. Probably going to see a Randuin's. Just to jump in with the hero's entrance, drop it slow on top of everybody, and then take no damage.
The no damage part is certainly real. Doesn't matter if you have Blade the Ruin King and Armor Penetration. Galio ain't dying anytime soon. QSS from Tramer is like, alright, I trusted you, Tucson, but the new thing, and now not blocking that last initiation from BBQ. And have QSS as well. There is a lot of Pixie C from BBQ. Rom can't be there for everything.
He's, an independent ADC. They don't need no support, so he'll be fine.
I believe it when I see it. Now, with a lot of these control wards that have been parked in this area. That was a Sun turret, if you're wondering. We haven't seen a Azir in a while.
Yeah. Remember when it used to count as an actual turret?
Oh, I do. I was
scoreboard?
casting.
Huh.
There was a lot of multiple, like 12 turrets.
This killed like 14 turrets. That's an interesting stat.
I found some extra ones.
They broke the game.
The overlay for broadcast has improved many times over with things like Drake's being tracked and everything else. No complaints there. Could have a bit more Rift Herald information in the post-game, but apart from that.
Yeah, I'd like to know how much damage to structures perhaps Rift Herald has dealt.
The Rift Herald stats, that's what I would like next. Riot, please. I delivered on literally everything else recently, so
I still
we
want
can ask.
I still want to see, Mordekaiser back into the meta, so you can have the Rift Herald plus a dragon in the same lane. But BBQ maybe in a rough spot. They have not walked out yet. Spirit's going to go over the wall just to clear out that control ward.
And Sejuani actually went in with Q just to pop the ward, but turning on Sejuani is not what Afrika want to do. So now, once again, we have this vision battle. Haven't spotted Kuro yet. See him now.
There we go. Walked a little bit too far forward, and Kramer had some fantastic arrows earlier on, but that one not gonna hit the mark.
Means that pressure is abated for a while. Rumble seen on the bot side. Not gonna believe in the Baron being taken just yet, a BBQ. But every moment that an arrow like that misses, Afrika back away, a Rumble is throwing minions on the bot side. We get closer to the death cap from the Azir. We get closer to the 4th, 5th item from the Azir, and you wonder if the game will go long enough They thought that about the last game. The answer was no, but damn if it wasn't close.
It was dangerously close. Well, for now, Ocean Drake going over to Afrika, so if nothing else, 3 stacks prepared for that Elder Dragon.
And just getting the Elder Dragon to spawn, I think, is the bigger point here, where they're like, well, BBQ valiantly are fighting for Vision in one quadrant. Getting Vision across both is a team effort, and it's a team effort just to get Vision in one. So,
yeah.
Given where the game is, it is a backup win condition, which they seem to desperately need.
Might be asking for a bit too much in that regard from BBQ.
It's almost impossible usually, and it's why having something like Elder Dragon on the other side of the map, and even having Rift Herald is play with the meta a lot. Meant that we don't have imbalanced sides of the map like we have for a lot of the last couple of years.
Keep clearing out these control wards. You can see so many in the inventories of BBQ at the moment.
Marwin sitting on 2,500 gold, wants to straight up death cap on his next buy. Does mean that right now...
Should be hoping that he can get it before he has to arrive for a fight.
Does mean that right now 2,500 of the gold lead is irrelevant, at minimum.
And we're going to be careful, pushing forward by himself. He's starting to poke in here. They do find Crow in the middle of that Justice Punch, straight into the Chain of Corruption, but look at him, he's just not going down.
Interrupt.
Yeah, he starts casting on that here's entrance. Will finally get chunked out. It goes dangerously low. Glacial Prison tossed out, finds Tucson. No further collapse going to happen.
Rumble completes his back. Kuro will be able to back. Both of them can teleport in, so a lot of ultimates invested by BBQ. 4 for no gain.
Yeah, they don't even need the TP in.
So do you start just going for the Baron here, brute force?
I mean, you have a 10,000 gold lead.
So then you would think you wouldn't need to, but to get value out of that, Rumble has done a lot of pushing bot lane. Now is the time for Afrika. They've drawn out ultimates. Sejuani has to react and will take time to push. At least draw her teleport with an assertive play here. Afrika are strongest right now, and that's why you see pings onto the Baron.
Yeah, they're still looking for so much forward vision here. Does get engaged to the backside. Spirit getting flayed in. Look, not going to follow up, however. And the Afrika, they just keep trying to camp this brush.
This gank bush just allows time for BBQ to get their waves in order. Now both of them are pushing out. Reassess, the death cap is there on the Azir, but here is the force they needed to make.
Yeah, the hits finally start coming through. Spirit playing on this side of the pit. C++ could just kick him away, perhaps just keep him out. Mitchell Fisher comes down, he'll jump in, they'll go ahead and pick that one up. Now Equalizer coming down. Ash Arrow straight in onto Crazy. Dark Passage will take him out to safety, but Afrika Freaks find another Baron.
Now when they were sitting in that control water brush, you thought, is this going to be just another Fnatic brush waiting for a pick? The answer finally was no. They got it, they pulled the trigger, they take their second Baron of the game. Slower than expected, maybe. Finally getting the big objective they needed. First Baron allowed them to open up a lead but not break the base. The minimum for the second Baron is breaking the base, but it's not easy. They only have one ranged auto attacker. Feels like the equalizer to zone plus other tools being used is what is needed to break the base, and the wave clear is very good from the side of BBQ. So again, air of inevitability, sure, but until they break the base, you're not willing to give the win over to Afrika Freaks.
It's going to be hard fought here from BBQ. Doing the damnedest. Damage starting to come out in the items from Tempt. So trying to hit that critical mass point for that Azir, where you can just start shredding through everybody. I mean, one Emperor's Divide, because I don't think we've seen one yet. One massive Emperor's Divide play, locks down Kramer, and goodbye Siege.
I believe one was used during the massive 5-man taunt, but apart from that, I agree. I don't think we've seen Emperor's Divide
Perhaps
used.
it was.
I think right now...
Even then it was negligible. So.
I think right now you go Rambo. You have Tucson at some point just flash ult with heroic entrance on top of him and use the space created for the Ashe to take a turret. Otherwise, they're not even going to put specks of damage into the turret. They don't have a comp built for that. Elder Dragon hasn't spawned yet, not for a couple of minutes. So they need to find a way, whether it's Ashe Arrow starting, someone needs to zone, and Galio is unkillable, remember. There's the equalizer.
Equalizer
This is the
comes down.
time.
Tempt's going to be cut out. The turret's going to be focused out first and foremost. Pop-up comes through the Glacial Fisher. Plus goes low. Will be able to flash away, keeps himself alive, and now the inhibitor going to be exposed and taken down by Kramer. Finishes that one off. Can they exit safely? Spirit getting locked up. The shields come through, but it's not enough to keep him alive. He goes down as Tempt finds the kill. Has to flash away, however, getting away from Kuro on that Galio.
For 0 so far for BBQ.
Yeah, that sentence from Totoro not going to connect. Lose out on Spirit. See how long they want to stick around. Kuro down to half HP. Could TP back in if they really want to get aggressive with the shove. It seems like they might just have to concede after that first hit.
Yeah, double TP in would not stop them being outnumbered, so smart of them to back away. Elder Dragon spawning in a minute. Could miss rinse and repeat with another big buff, like the Elder Dragon buff. Riding on top of 3 Drake stacks.
With the recalls coming through, this does give a decent bit of an opening for BBQ to start pushing forward, trying to get some vision down. You can see Bless has that exact idea as he works his way over towards that Elder Dragon pit.
He's happy to get at least a situation where he only needs to fight on one side of the map at a time. BBQ really haven't been bot side for a very long time in this game.
I mean, there was about 7 minutes or so where we just were stuck up in that top side jungle. As Afrika Freaks kept wanting to bait them into that brush on the backside of red.
They had Rumble pushing in bot lane.
Oh, look in on the Crucible. They would have committed for this. The answer's going to be yes, Hero. When Hero's entrance comes through from Kuro, gets the pop-up onto Bless. Ash Arrow comes down, locking him in. He goes low, Justice Punch forward, finds Tempt. Equalizer thrown down, and Marin's going to find the kill. Massive opening now for Afrika Freaks as they go forward. One more hit to lock up Ghost. They find it. He kites back, finds the kill in onto Tucson, but pays for that one with his life. The kill goes over to Kramer. And Elder Dragon be damned, the Afrika Freaks might just be pushing in for the rest of the inhibitors as that wave has been built up in the top lane.
The pings were through the mid lane. They wanted to ride that into a second inhibitor, or they could just take the minions in top and try to end the game right now. That's Spirit's idea. They think better of it. They'll just go mid lane. Very long time on Tempted Ghost. The game could still end here.
See if they can close this one out. Wave being escorted forward by Mar and just zoning them back as the second inhibitor could just go down as an insurance policy, but seems like they will just go for the finish. The first Nexus start going down as Crazy desperately tries to lock them in. But you can see them just having to head for the hills. Martin flashing forward, trying to get the finish off onto Bless. Can't quite get it, but the Nexus is now exposed. Bless trying to heal up, but it's still 7 seconds left on the Tempt. And Afrika Freaks, after an abysmal game number 2, will be able to close this out with a 2-1 victory.
They get over the line again. Very long, very interesting series between the two. The perfect game seems like a very long time ago, Achilles. Game 2 was messy, but BBQ just about got it done in the end, and kind of against all odds given where the comps were at. Game 3, the first Baron play was really good from Afrika, harken back to the Afrika we saw in Game 1. Yeah. And while it took time from there, that's what happens when you're against mass wave clear with only one single ranged auto attacker. Very hard to break the base. Finally got the Baron, eventually broke the base. BBQ taken down. Take about Kuro on the day where he picked up his 1000th kill in that perfect game. The 5-man taunt was the highlight of Game 3.
Yeah, really gorgeous play. I mean, we said, not going to be playing to get the kills there on that Galio, but 5-man taunt sealing the deal for Afrika Freaks, putting them so very far ahead off the backside of that Baron. Just a wonderful play from him. So congratulations all around for Kuro and the Afrika Freaks on the victory.
And Afrika Freaks like, yes, we got a perfect game. We didn't lose a series. They're 1-1 now with the perfect game ones.
Still a lot of VOD reviewing to be done. They can go back to, well, I don't know. Do you really want to go back to Game 2 and watch that?
They probably will have to at some point this week. My commiserations to them. It was a messy one. Still very hard to make out too much about the Afrika Freaks. The ups and downs, the roller coaster that Katie Rolster couldn't even hope to challenge. Very interesting series that took some turns that no one saw coming. We had to support Nunu last game, Achilles.
Yeah, we did. Kind of forgot about that one already.
Maybe best that way.
Yeah. Oh well, Tucson tried something. It didn't work. But I believe with that win, Afrika Freaks, I don't think they move up the standings very much. I believe they still retain their spot in 6th place, but they move to a completely neutral scoreline of 0.
Yeah, the game
no
score
longer with that -1.
Not buoyed by a 2-0 means that, as you say, not a lot will change, and they have played more games than most teams as well.
Need every point you can get. You know how worried and concerned we were for Samsung after they lost out on their points there during the spring split. But Afrika Freaks, they can take a rest. They can get prepped for the next match. Probably a long VOD review session, but they can still revel and bask in the glory of that perfect game.
Does it feel like glory, though? I don't know if the glory is touching too many members of this team. Maybe Kuro can feel some glory. It's been a personal moment for him and a match victory, but
not on
Marin's
the series,
Rumble,
just on that first game. That's about it.
I feel like Marin's Rumble has become human. It's like when your father has that moment where you realize that he's fallible, and you're like, oh, I thought you were everything, and now even Marin's Rumble has been taken down a tier.
Yeah, when your dad gets beat up by that other kid's dad, and you realize that he's not as tough as you thought.
I never had that problem. My dad beat up everyone. He's John Smith. Look him up.
I bet your father. He's doesn't seem like that violent of a person, but certainly not.
I'm just saying, Google it. John Smith. You'll find him.
All right, there you go. Well, Marin, despite some questionable plays on the Rumble throughout the series, still comes out on top with the damage. Followed up by Kramer very swiftly with the Ashe. But a much better game here in Game 3, very reminiscent of Game number 1. Obviously not a perfect game, but the shot calling was still there. It was at that similar level. Had a bit of a drive spell, but there we go. Kuro on the day, 1,000 kills, double MVP. Deathless on his Galio with an 86% kill contribution.
On a day of many secret and double agents, Secret Agent Kuro will be a very conspicuous one. We'll get a double MVP, extended interview with the man who set a milestone today. Always interesting to see when personal milestones and team victories intersect, what people want to talk about. Early game here, the zone around the turret. They got the mid turret with the Rift Herald, which is another nice play that we didn't really talk about earlier in the game. And Kuro's mid lane Galio seems to inspire a bit more than, say, for example, the mid lane Galio from Faker, where you wonder what if. Kuro has played these negating mid laners before in previous metas. This was the big play, where BBQ thought, okay, let's get some kills to spare our losses. There was the Emperor's Divide, and actually pushed Kuro, amusingly, even further into 5 members of BBQ. Insane taunt, full duration, doesn't get cancelled by things like the Emperor's Divide. The cleanup, and this is where the game changed. So the Emperor's Divide did come out once before Achilles and won the game for a Freak of Freaks.
I just imagine that in that moment when Totoro threw out the hook and saw it land, he just probably screamed like, I got one! And then went in and was just like, oh no. Good God, what have I done? That coupled with the Emperor's Divide leading straight into that taunt. Inevitable deaths.
Tucson, when he has 5 points in Unbreakable and also the damage reduction from the hero's entrance, is the most unkillable. And Temple never got the payoff from the Azir. We have to evaluate Azir, given that we're probably not expecting to see too many, barring some big changes, and didn't have a lot of pressure on the map, was kind of outfoxed by the Rift Herald, and from there, didn't really achieve too much.
Yeah, wasn't a great sample size, so maybe we need to see more Azir before we can really pass a judgment on that pick in the current meta. For now, let's go ahead, hear from the man himself. It's Kuro, 1,000th kill today. Joel, take it away with the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. A wonderful series and a very extended one at that, but a Freak of Freaks in the end pull off a 2-1 victory against BBQ Olivers, and we are here with the man with the interview, but also the man with the 1,000th kill, Kuro, for the interview. Yeah, I think some of the things that we really want to prove today, that we were able to win the series, because we had a lot of those games where we had to win in the first game and we lost those consecutive 2 games, and I think this was a day where we needed to prove that, you know, we can actually win out a series. And it always seems like the criticism was that, you know, a Freak of Freaks was always a one-game team where you guys can't extend after that. I honestly don't know why that's the case. You know, I feel like, you know, after winning game 1 and losing out, you know, game 2 and game 3, it just, I don't know, it's just a little weird. So we still have a few things to figure out. In preparation for today, I'm sure you guys have it in mind that, you know, you guys were facing consecutive losses and had to really break that. But how did you come to do that? I think the biggest downfall of our team was the mid to late game shot calling and the macro play that we didn't show as well as we could have, and that's kind of what we really focused on, try to get better. But everything nonetheless, you got your 1,000th kill today. Very much of a congrats to you on that one. I'm sure we can look at the video highlight of where you got the 1,000th kill and we can talk further about that. Were you counting your kills to see whether you got the 1,000th kill? No, I think it was so focused on the win and trying to get the win that I really didn't focus on the 1,000 kills. But, you know, my teammates gave me the go that, you know, it was my 1,000 kill cup coming, so right there was very happy moment for me.
They always say they're not counting, but we know they are.
And of course, you know, you guys had to break the consecutive losses, so, you know, the losing streak had to be broken. That was the biggest priority for you guys. But game 1, you did that with the, you know, best way you can do it, with, you know, getting the perfect game with giving up nothing to the BBQ Oliver side. You know, when Marin was laning, he gave a lot of shot calling to all the lanes, and we kept us in check. And I think that really helped us, lead us way through.
본인도 그냥 마영이라고 하네요. 생각 없이 선수도 좀 마영이라고 부르나요, 그냥?
네, 좀 서로 편한 이름 부르지 않나요?
I think, when I refer to Marin, that, I try to be a little more comfortable around him. I think everybody would, to anyone, really.
같은 팀원에서.
졸로 아니면은 그냥 뭐 쿠로 형, 뭐 서행이 형.
I think other teammates too, they have nicknames for me. that they like to call me.
로 넘어가야 될 것 같아요. 굉장히 좀 힘든 게임인데.
But we do want to move on to game 2. How was it overall? We don't need an explanation, but we want to hear from you.
진행되면서 항상 저희가 승패패로 졌던 그
As the game was progressing, it just kept reminiscing into my mind of all the win-loss situation that we had to go through, and we really didn't want to get that again. And we just looked to the late game and try to get advantage off of that.
그래서 아무래도 좀 가슴 아픈 얘기가 될 수 있지만 그래도 여쭤보자면 이 세트에서 실수가 나왔잖아요.
And although, it's a heartbreaking moment for you guys made a crucial mistake near the end. How did you feel about that?
끝나고 나서 플래시를 잘못 눌렀다고 했거든요.
Yeah, after Marin finished off the game, he told me that he used his flash accidentally, so he did apologize about that, but it wasn't just his fault, but we know all of us could have done better. I think, we can't just put all the blame, so we didn't blame him that much.
We forgive you, brother Marin.
And this was where it happened.
상황이 급박하다 보니까 이런 걸 체크를 하기가 좀 힘들었죠. 아무래도.
I guess it was difficult to check, regarding the lack of vision you guys didn't have.
이런 식으로 멘탈을 좀 잡고. 하지만 또 마음 한 구석에는 저 1세트 이기고.
And I'm sure, but you say all that like you didn't blame him, but I'm sure you had in the back of your mind that it could have won if it wasn't for that mistake.
의식을 저는 잘 안 했다고 생각하는데.
I say that I try not to worry about it. I try not to just ignore. I try to just ignore that, but
의식을 좀 많이.
it's hard to really just ignore the fact that we could have won without that mistake.
사실 팀마다 지금 갈려에 대한 평가가 좀 갈리고 있거든요.
And the thing with Galio pick is especially on mid lane is very separated among different mid laners.
3세트에서 안 하려 그랬어요.
Yeah, I was actually not planning to play Galio in game 3,
그냥 했던 것 같아요.
but I think it just suddenly just got to my hands eventually. I think that was a little bit out of my decision.
그런 게 있었나 봐요.
그럼 아무래도 상대 아지르 나왔을 땐 좀 어떠셨어요?
How did you feel when Azir came up in the opposition?
마음이 편했어요.
I was actually pretty comfortable because, when I was doing the practice and scrimming, I have my opposition team play the Azir, so I had a decent practice on, against that champion, so I felt that I had a pretty easy victory incoming.
그렇죠. 저희는 사실 되게 놀랐거든요.
We were actually surprised. I'm glad, I'm glad that hear that Kuro wasn't very surprised at all, but we were actually very surprised when we saw the pick.
3세트에 보시면 또 이 바텀을 막다가 빠르게 탑으로 가서 탑 쪽으로 이동을 해서 바론을.
But we were seeing in game 3 when you guys were going for the bot lane, but suddenly turned towards the Baron in very early.
장면이 있나요?
Do you have the video how they prepare? I actually want to see that, and perhaps I can explain to you guys. This is after they actually took the Baron.
이게 라영이 되게 쿨 잘한 게.
And this was actually Marin's shot calling all the way. He told me as soon as I was pulled in that I can actually get the taunt in, and luckily I got it on all 5 members, and he was ready with the equalizer too, put it all in, so all credits to Marin on that one.
그리고 프로 선수가 거의 뭐 완전 메인 탱커처럼 계속 탱킹.
And Kuro, you really were the main tanker of the team for the majority of the game.
경력에 대해서.
제가 좀 어느 정도 잘 커서 항상.
Yeah, it was a situation where, I got pretty big and, got a lot of good items, and, just tanking up and soaking up all the damage is actually pretty entertaining, so, I'm actually enjoying that kind of play.
앞으로 가서 혼자 뻘짓하지 말고.
And I think, it gives me a little bit of room to fool around.
또 안에서의 권력이 좀 느껴지네요.
네, 그래서 또 프로 선수 인터뷰 전에 뭐 그런 말씀도 하셨잖아요. 뭐 2세트 같은 경우 뭐 본인이 아니라 다른 선수가 받았어도 됐을
In previous interviews, we heard you, say that you would rather give the MVP off to somebody else, but do you have anybody like that today?
제가 갈리오로 딱히 받을 만한 플레이를 한 건 없다고.
Yeah, but to be honest, with the game 3, I don't really think I deserve the MVP with the Galio. But, perhaps I could give it to Marin, or also to Spirit, who really pulled us off, in the early game. You could actually give off to these guys as well.
말씀을 또 해주시는 것 같아요. 네, 어쨌든 오늘 또 연패를 끊었기 때문에 이제 연승으로 가야 되지 않겠습니까?
But of course, finishing off that losing streak, now you guys have to look for the winning streak.
솔직히 승패패한 경기를 다 이길 수 있었어요.
But you know,
그러면 지금
to be
저희가
honest, if you look at all of our win-loss games, those games were so winnable, and it was a series that we should have won. So, you know, I feel like we're not a losing team, and I think we have exactly what it takes to, you know, to get a win streak going right here.
워낙 그 좋을 때, 뭐 잘할 때 경기력이 엄청나기 때문에.
네, 그래서 오늘도 사실 이기는 경기만큼은 완벽했어요. 1세트도 퍼펙트로 이기고 마지막 세트도 그렇고 스노우볼 굴리는 능력도 탁월했고. 자, 그래서 이제 연속으로 가야 되니까 오늘 또 팬분들
And, you know, we have to go to that winning streak, and you have all these fans out here today, you know, cheering for you guys. Would you like to say anything to them?
일단 팬분들은 항상 너무 감사드리고
We're always so thankful for the fans, and
팀원한테 한마디 하고 싶거든요.
I actually want to say something to my teammate.
요즘 팀 분위기가 좀 항상 좀 져서 그런지
And I think with the team morale, due to the consecutive losses, that,
팀 분위기가 안
you know, we were actually having a
제발
negative team morale, but
팀원끼리 막
I wish, you know, even if we don't have to rely on anyone else, I wish, you know, as teammates we could, you know, gather together and be more cooperative as family, so we can, you know, pull through this together and become a better team altogether.
우리 크로 선수에게 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
So that seems to be an interview. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. I mean, I guess, you know, Piglet should probably take some interview notes from Kuro there. So, very respectful for his teammates. Let's band together as a family and grow from there.
Some people want to come together, other people want to blow situations apart. Achilles, everyone gets to choose how they live their lives. So a very team-focused interview from Kuro, focusing on let's band together and stop this madness of 3 games every series for the Africa Freaks. Maybe they'll have the perfect season of playing the maximum amount of games, because that's certainly on the horizon for them. 2 perfect games in Game 1, a loss to KT, but this time a win over BBQ. Puts them smack bang in the middle. 6th place, could be 5th, but with the game score and KT Rolls to have played 1 less set does mean that they are above Africa.
Yeah, so going to be close to overtaking KT. We'll see how they're going to perform in the next set, which I believe is against MVP. So it should be a very interesting set, given how KT Rolls has been doing, given how MVP played earlier on today. Not really sure what's going to happen at the end of the summer split. Seems like everything's pretty much up in the air outside of Samsung and SKT are pretty good, and Longshu's looking better.
And Jin and Longshu, both 2-1, both pretty good, and actually fighting each other in 2 days' time when we come back with the LCK on OGN. SK Telecom versus Everate means that Faker and Scepted, who have been talked about in the same breath, will face as well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you know, double rookies in the jungle in the first one. Lumti coming back, looking very strong, going up against Cuz, and then you'll have, like you said, Faker versus Scepter going to be the marquee matchup. We'll be bringing you those games on Saturday, and then closing out the week over at the Gangnam Studio, it's going to be BBQ Olivers back yet again, trying to find a win, this time against a bit of lesser opposition compared to Africa Freaks. It'll be Rocks Tigers, followed up by that match, KT Rolster versus MVP.
And that's definitely one of those days where you're like, well, any team could win in this series. Even KT are not going to be inked, given they've been up and down, doing an Africa with the seesaw. So really hard to say what's going to happen on Sunday, but more games in just 2 days.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and find out. That's all we can really do. Be blessed by the LCK gods with some wonderful League of Legends. Goodbye, guys. We'll see you on Saturday for more League games.